Hello guys, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be learning about shaders and how to make a toon anime shader in Unity 6.2. As you can see here, I already got my outline and I already got the cel shading. You can go up over here, shadow threshold, turn on the shadow, turn off, whatever. And the tip, you can do the same. You can do something like this, and you can also turn on and off the shadow if you want, or the tip, so you can only have just a base color and the shadow color. You can move that around too. And we also have the outline right here for the both of them. It's really I'm going to show you how to do that as well in this video. Also just to let you know, this does not work, well, it kind of does work on something like squares. As you can see with the outline, it's not touching the corners at some parts, and there's no real tip. There is a tip, but it's not going to be like this. It's going to be something like this. You can see the shadow right here on the base and stuff. And if I turn the light, it's going to be very snappy. It barely works on cubes like this. I'm gonna make another tutorial once I figured out how to do it on cubes, but for right now it's mostly for like stuff like round objects, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be really useful to some people. Yeah, so without further ado, let's get right into it. First, what you want to do is make a cel graph. So I already have mine right down here where my mouse is. If you don't know how to do that, you go to create, and then you go to shadow graph, URP, and click the unlit shader graph, and it will make you a new one right here. But since I already have one, I don't need this. And once you got your graph set up, you will go into this black board thing. Now I know it's really confusing since it has to do with nodes and not coding or whatever, but just bear with me here. It's going to be very easy once I teach you everything. Now before we even start, let's go to this inspector graph here. So everything should be default except for cast shadows. You turn that off. Now what you want to do as your first step is to right click on the blackboard, create node, type normal vector, well, it's right here, normal vector, and yeah, just add this here. And then the next step you want to do is add a main light direction right here, and then use a dot product. So dot product, and what you want to do is add the normal vector and the main light direction into here. And as you can see, you already have your black and white, 0 and 1. So this will technically be the shadow and this will be the light. Now this is all step 1. So I'm gonna name this light intensity because that's where the light is going to be. All right, now let's work on the tip. All right, so what you want to do is go up here, and I want you to add these variables on screen. So what you want to do is click the plus and do the texture 2D, base color, and then you want to add base color. And I'm just gonna do this for all the variables, so I'm gonna see you in a little bit. Alright, so here's everything I have. Now I'm gonna extend this so you can see it better. So base color is texture 2D, base color with a D, at least that's what I named it. It's gonna be color, shadow color is gonna be color, tip color is gonna be color, shadow enable is gonna be a boolean, tip enable is gonna be a boolean, shadow threshold is a float, and tip threshold is a float. Okay, now that we already have this, then we can move on to the next step. Let's work on the tip. So if you want the tip enabled, first you had to do a multiply, and then you add this dot right here, dot product light intensity, and then do tip enable like this. And then what you want to do is go click on tip enable, go here to graph inspector node settings, default value. This is basically your check or uncheck true or false. Click on this, and as you can see, it updates and it shows you right there. Then the next step is the tip threshold. So this is like the threshold itself. This is the how you can scale it up, bigger or smaller. So what you want to do is go to create node, step, round step, add this right here, multiply it with this and put it right here. Then tip threshold, it's going to be right here. And then for the default value, it's going to be -0.86, just like that. So instead of black and white, it's just white. Now you have to saturate this. So go create node and saturate in here and name this shadow mask. Then add a 1-. So this is everything. So this basically flips everything. So it goes from white to black. If it was like this, it goes from this will be white, this will be black. And then add a lerp. Now we're gonna get back to this. So just add a lerp right here and just connect this to the T. And we're gonna get back to this. Let's put it right here for now. So this is important. Next, we want to do the shadow. So go to create node, add a 1-. Oh, I spelled that wrong. Add a 1-, and then go from dot product to here. And then we want to add a step. So add a step right here. And then put this line right here. And then do a shadow threshold and put it right here. Now for shadow threshold, you want to do 0.75. So we're going to do that right here. We're going to add a saturate. Connect that to this. And then we want to do a multiplier. And then put the saturate here, and then put shadow enabled here. Now this is how you're going to be turning off and on the shadows with the shadow enabler. Set the default value to true, and we already have our shadows right here. Now we don't connect this to the lerp. All right, this is something completely different. But before we do anything, add base color into here. You can set it off as whatever you want, but right now we're not going to worry about the color. Put the base color right here. And now for the final step, we want to go down here, texture 2D, put this right here, base color. And then what we want to do is add a sample texture 2D. Drag this in here. Then I don't think you really have to do this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Just add a UV right here. Or at least that's what I did. I don't think it changes anything though. And then secondly, add a lerp. Add a lerp. Connect RGBA, the pink one, into the middle. And then you want to add tip color here. Add it right here. And then this one goes all the way up to the lerp that we mentioned, all the way up here. Now we basically got like everything done. Now we just have to connect these two right here. And how we do this is this. Add a lerp and then put this right here. Put shadow color right here. And then add the multiplier or final tip mask, or at least that's what I call it, and put it in here. And then this is gonna be your final color. Now the reason why it's not showing anything is because I didn't add any colors yet, but I will in a second. So name this final color and then put this to base. Now Now I'm going to show you how this is going to look in color. So for shadow color, what do you want to do? For red, it's put in 7F201111 in the hexadecimal. Then for base color, you want to add D04123. And then for tip color, what you want to add is FFA178. And there you go. You got your, if you look at the main preview right here, it should show your toon shader. Now I'm going to Control S to save. And where is it? Where is it? There it is. Yep, here it is, right here. And you can go and right click on cel shading, create material. Let's call this red for now. And then you can go up here and add it to your capsule. And then you can turn the light and you can see it react. Actually, I'm just going to add another capsule so you can see it without the outline. But yeah, here it is right here. So right here you can see it react to the light right here. You can see the shadow moving, the tip moving, and if you want, you can go to capsule, and then you can go down here, and then you can, oh, I don't want a tip. Okay, well, here, you don't have a tip, and the shadow is going to move. Oh, I don't really want I don't want a shadow, but I want a tip. Okay, well, you can change that, and you can see it react. Now, here's my personal preference. Shadow threshold will be 0.72. So change that, 0.72. And then for the tip, it's gonna be negative 0.86. I think we already have that. Yeah, we do. And there you go. Here is your cel shading. Now, what we're gonna do next is this outline right here. This one right here. Yep. As you can see with the outline, I don't think you can see it move. Oh yeah, there it is. You can see it move a little bit once I zoom in, but that's just because of my settings. You can obviously change this if you want. I can go up here and I can go to outline width, and I can change it if I want. I can change the wobble strength. So, oh, that's gonna be a little crazy. You can change that. Then you can change the speed. And then you can change the wobble frequency. You can I have a mixture of 3 colors if you want right here for, you know, for basically that frame by frame cel shading. Although you can always just put everything to black and it can be another outline, like this, just like that, and you can just change everything to like 0 and it's not going to move. It's just going to be another outline. So it works with, if you want like frame by frame moving or like illusion, you can put with the noise, but if you don't, you can just make it as another outline. It literally works the same way. So yeah, let's get right into it. So again, what you want to do is right click, create, and you want to go to cel graph URP and then unlit. Call this outline frame. I'm gonna call it that, but you can call it whatever you want. Click on it and it's gonna open up this huge thing. There it is. And for this, settings, don't change it. Everything's all right to me. So what kind of variables do you want? So what you want is to add a float and add that outline width. Then another float called Y offset. The reason why I do Y offset is because in my game called Fool's Gold, the enemies, which is right now are just capsules, the outline kind of clips through the floor. So this is why I added Y offset, so you can just I can just change it and it doesn't look as it doesn't clip to the ground as it did before. So that's why I added it. And then you can do wobble strength for float. And then what you want to do next is add wobble speed. And then what you want to do next is a float, wobble frequency. Then add color. Just add color, and then color 1, and then color 2. All right, so this is all the variables you're gonna need. And for right now, let's add the numbers real quick. So for number 1, number 2, Y offset is gonna be 0.02. Wobble strength is gonna be 0.05. Wobble speed is going to be 1. This is going to be, the reason why I'm changing this is that this is just going to be the default of your entire material. But if you right click and just make another material, and you can just change that material as long as you just change the name. So this is like your default, but you can always change it anytime you want. Yeah, and then for wobble frequency, you want to do 3. So speed 1, wobble strength 0.05, Y says 0.02, and outline width is just 0. All right, so let's get right into it. First you want to do is add a position, and then you want to do a space object. And then what you want to do next is add the wobble frequency, and then multiply these two, and then just add it like this. Oh, hold on, and just add it like this. Yep, wobble frequency and position to multiply. Then what you want to come down here is add a time node, and then do wobble speed. So this is going to be, you know, how fast the speed is going to be. Multiply these two, and then drag this time, so time 1 here, wobble speed here, and then you can multiply those two, and then this is when you add them together. So at the add node, drag these two right here, and then this is the fun part, really, for me at least. Okay, so you got your basics done. Now we add a simple noise. This is how it's going to be moving. So what you want to do is drag the add to UVO, and then as you can see here, thanks to the time and the frequency, it's already moving, as you can see. And next up, we want to do a subtract node, and you want to drag this into here, and then change this to 0.34. So that's what's going to be subtracting. And then what you want to do next is divide. So you want to add another divide node, and you drag this into here, and then x 0.34, 0.34, and then after divide, you want to do saturate. So add a saturate and put divide here, and then saturate right there. You add a lerp. So add the lerp node in the end. And then what you want to do next is add color. So color right here, and then just add color right here. Yep. We didn't add any color, so it's just gonna be black for now. And then you want to go all the way back here. So where this is simple noise, what you want to do next is add multiply again. We're gonna use this again. So just add multiply, and then you do add this. No, I'm sorry. You add simple noise into here, and then you add wobble strength into here. So you're just gonna be multiplying the 0.05, and this is gonna be your strength. And then you want to do vector 3. So add a vector 3 here, and just connect this to all 3 of them. And we're gonna come back to this later. So the lerp and the vector 3, it's all done. Everything right here is done. So what you want to do next is go down here, add a normal vector, right here, normal vector, set the objects, and then you want to drag this in out, add a multiplier, put it in B, and then add an outline width. So it's going to just be multiplying the width, and that's what's going to make your line thicker or thinner. Then in multiply, add another position node. So add another position node right here. Change this one to objects, because it's going to be around your object, not in the world. If you do world, it's going to be, the offset is going to be really bad, and it's going to be set in the Unity world and not your object. Okay, and then you want to add these two. So add these two right here. And then add a vector 3. This is going to be my offset. If you add an offset, you don't have to do this. For example, I'm just going to do Y offset for this one, and then I'm going to add these two. So add here and here, and you can just add these two. But if you don't want a Y offset, you don't have to do this. To just have this add right here, and then all of this, it just does not exist. You can always just skip this part right here, and you can also do Y offset, Z offset, X offset with just any of these. Just add another float like this one, just plug it in here, and then just click add, like put this into add, and then put this into add, and that's just how it's going to work. But you don't have to do this, but I'm just going to do this for the tutorial. And then you want to add another add right here. And this add is going to be here. And then this vector 3 right here is going to go all the way down here. Now this, we basically got everything done. So this is going to be your object space. So add this right here, and this is going to be your object space. And as you can see here in main preview, it's already shaking and moving, which is good. Now we want to add the base color. So your lerp that we did before, you want to drag this into color. And of course it can be black, but we can change the color. So this is what I'm going to do. For color 1, can change this to 3C0000. I've already gained that red. And then for color 2, you want to add this 1A 0A 0A. And then for color 3 is just going to be pure black. So we're not going to change this one. And there you go. Here is your outline. Now, the reason why you add 3 colors is because for me, I'm doing some water color painting, like style in a way. So 3 colors is going to work for me at least. But if you don't want, like, oh, I don't want black with red and this other red, that's fine. Just put all these black and it's just gonna be pure black. But yeah, this is how you do the outline. So if we Control S and save, go to close tab, and ignore this right now, ignore that. Once you go to outline frame, you already have your outline right here, and then you can go and just replace this. Oh, right. This is my fault. What you want to do is, if you want this to work, I completely forgot about the settings. If you want to go to settings right here, you don't do front, or else it's going to cover everything. What you want to do is click back. So you have to click back for this one, or else it's not going to work. So if you go to, yeah, see, as you can see here, it's already working like this. And you can always change it to be a lot, you can be a lot faster like this, or you can be calm like this. As you can see, it's kind of moving up here. But yeah, this is how you make the outline. I'm gonna put the settings on screen for both the cel shading and the outline, or at least for what I personally use. If you go here, I think it's gonna work on this one. Yep, it's gonna work just like that. But yeah, if you like this tutorial, then make sure you follow for more. I'm gonna make other tutorials like this. For example, for the square, I know it's not working with the cell shading and the outline. It only kind of works like with shapes that are smooth instead of like sharp. So I'm going to make another tutorial once I figure out how to get that working. But for right now, this is what I got, and I'm pretty proud of it. Subscribe and follow for more, and I'll see you next time.